At Apple, productivity isn't optional, it's survival. Hello, my name's Asasa. I spent 4 years as an operations planning lead at Apple, running product launches and confidential projects. Everyone talks about what Apple makes, but almost no one talks about how we get things done behind the scenes. Today, I'm sharing 5 insider productivity hacks that I used at Apple, hacks that actually works. Whether you're juggling solo side hustle or working in a big team, these are straightforward strategies that you can start using right now to optimize your time, work more efficiently, and execute like a professional. Ready? Let's start with number 1. Reverse roadmap. Every major launch starts from the end and work backwards. We don't ask what can we do today. We ask what needs to be true on launch day and then plan back from there. For example, when I was orchestrating the opening of the new Apple Store in Kawasaki, Japan, the opening date was classified, so only a few of us knew about it back then. So we started from T Day, which is the opening day, and map every step in reverse. Let me use an oversimplified example in supply chain to illustrate this. Okay, you know that products need to be on the shelf in the store 3 days before opening, which means that shipping had to happen 2 weeks earlier, which also means that the factories need to start producing 8 weeks before that. And how do the factories know what exactly to produce? Demand forecasting then needs to happen 12 weeks before they could even start manufacturing. Once we mapped it backwards, we then flip it and execute forward. That's how you walk into the Apple Store and always find what you need. It's all reverse engineered. And the reason why it works is because starting from the destination makes every step intentional. You don't waste time second guessing. You don't drift. You drive. Okay, let's say you want to launch your online business in 6 months. Set that launch day as T Day. Now work backwards. What needs to happen the week before? Maybe your website needs to go live. And what do we need before the website can go live? Content needs to be created and scheduled. So can we do it now, or does it depend on something else? Yes, we need to figure out the branding first, and so on until you reach today. Suddenly, your huge, overwhelming dream has turned into a clear, actionable timeline that you can follow. Hack number 2, net it out. There's an internal lingo that we used on a daily basis called net it out. It means say less, mean more. Get to the point. Sometimes it'll sound very blunt, but it's what keeps communication really fast and crystal clear. Let me show you a real email sent by our then CEO, Steve Jobs. In 2005, Steve Jobs emailed the Adobe CEO after finding out that Adobe was poaching Apple employees. The email subject line was one word: recruiting. And this is the exact email. Bruce, Adobe is recruiting from Apple. They've hired one person already and are calling lots more. I have a standing policy with our recruiters that we don't recruit from Adobe. It seems you have a different policy. One of us must change our policy. Please let me know who. Steve. So there's no, dear Mr. Cheeson, I hope you are well, etc. Just straight to the point. Problem, why it matters, action needed. So next time when you're writing an important email or preparing for a meeting, you can structure it like this. Problem, what's wrong? Impact, why does it matter? Action, what needs to happen next? Clear communication means faster execution. Hack number 3, strategic reallocation. Most teams think they need more to succeed. More budget, more time, more headcount. But at Apple, we often win by simply reallocating. For example, say that iPhone Ultramarine wasn't selling well in one store, but it's selling really fast in another store. We didn't make more iPhones. We just moved them, which means that the low demand stores can free up their space, the high demand stores can stay stocked, and overall the revenue rises, and there is no new production needed, which means lower cost. The same principle applies to people and time. I remember there was one software team that I worked with. They borrowed 2 engineers from a low priority project for about 2 weeks, and they launched a critical feature on time without adding extra headcount to their own team. The real unlock isn't acquisition, it's reallocation. So next time when you're feeling stuck or you feel short on resources, you can ask yourself, what do I have that's just sitting around? For example, you know that 2-hour update meeting? cut it to 30 minutes and turn the rest of the time into deep work sessions. Or that weekly report that takes your team hours to write, but no one reads. Kill it. Spend the time creating leads. Or the team member who said that they're bored with work, put them on researching competitors. Instant win. It's like rearranging furniture in a small apartment. You don't need more space, you just need better flow. Hack number 4, don't offer free food. Unlike Google or Meta, Apple's cafeterias aren't free. They're heavily subsidized, but you still have to pay. At first, I was really slightly disappointed, and you might think that they do it to save food costs. It wasn't. It's well known by the OG employees under Steve Jobs that it's a company policy to not offer free lunch because anything handed out for free isn't appreciated. People will take more and waste more. And he was right. When teams had to justify their requests, for example, premium software licenses, they became more thoughtful about what they really needed. Resources weren't wasted and they were used intentionally. After I left Apple, I applied the same principle in a later program by setting up a point system for requesting design resources. The result was that the urgent requests dropped about 64%, and the design quality was so much better because the design team was not spread thin anymore. Free things don't get valued, they get wasted, even your time. If someone hits you with a lazy DM asking you for a big help, you can say, happy to help. What have you tried so far? Make them invest effort before you invest yours. Remember to protect your time like it's not free, because it isn't. Hack number 5, breakproof your plans. At Apple, whenever someone says scenario planning, that was code for we're about to launch something. We will always plan for at least 3 scenarios. Ideal scenario, which is the dream situation. Target scenario, which is what we realistically aim for. Min scenario, which is the bare minimum needed for the launch. And we never planned assuming things would go right. We planned for when things would go wrong. For example, during COVID, it was really challenging to do anything because everything was shut down and regulations keep on changing. During that time, I think I probably planned for at least 100 to 200 scenarios. And when the worst case scenario happened, we didn't panic. We just pivoted to the min scenario and kept moving. Despite all, we launched iPhone 13. We hit the highest revenue in Apple history. Let's say that one of your personal goals is to exercise every day. You might start off really strong, going to the gym for 2 hours for the first few days, but then life happens. You're tired, sick, or just overwhelmed. And suddenly you miss a day, and now the plan's broken, and so is your motivation. But it doesn't have to be like this. Here's how to break-proof your plan. First thing first, you gotta identify potential disruptions. For example, on some days, there's just too much work to do, you're down with the flu, you're too tired, overwhelmed, or you're just depressed. The next thing to do is to create a contingency solution for each of them. For example, if you're busy, then do a 5-minute workout at home during your break. If you're sick, just do some light stretchings for 5 minutes on the bed, etc. The last thing to remember is to build flexible buffers. If you really miss a day, it's okay. Don't feel guilty. Just pick it up tomorrow. When you're doing this, don't aim for perfection. Aim for resilience. Because you really don't need a perfect plan. You need one that can survive real life. There you have it. These are the 5 Apple-proven productivity hacks that you can start using today. Let me know which one you're going to start trying. I would love to hear from you. And this is also my first video, so I will share more in this channel about my strategies and personal stories working in tech. I will see you next time. Bye.